Are you ready for deeper meaning and bigger dreams in your life? Do you believe it can happen? Amy and LoriAnn are here to clear the confusion and help you live life full out, guided by your inner wisdom to create, amplify, and align you with your highest self. Are you ready to attract a divinely blessed life? This is Living in the Faith Frequency.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Living in the Faith Frequency with LoriAnn and Amy. And today we started off with just going into, okay, we need to do this. I did. And Amy kind of slowed everything down and stopped and said, wait. And then she said, let's record. And I'm like, let's start then. Let's just record, because this is so important to capture the process. So, Amy, let's just go back to like right where you were starting to teach me about this process. And I know that the listeners will be able to add this into all of their daily life and living experiences right now.
Yes, I'm really excited to be talking about how to live in the faith frequency, because the journey that I have been on in the past year has taught me so much. And I am really excited to be able to share the things that I've learned and what has helped me and John, as we went through everything, to stay in a frequency of faith where we are looking through the windshield, the big windshield of life, moving forward, and only glancing at the rear view mirror just to see, make sure everything is good before we keep moving forward. And so much of the time when I work with clients, I see them very aware of what's stopping them. And I think in the coaching realm, it's an important piece, but it's just for a little moment where you just glance in the rearview mirror and then you're like, but now what am I ready for? What do I want? Who do I want to be? Where am I headed? What lights me up? And you're getting into that higher frequency where you are excited about your future. And sometimes we can get so caught up in where we're at and where we have been, and none of that really matters, because today is a new day. It's a fresh start, and it's following what lights you up. And even when you're creating, so this podcast that we're creating, we just wanted to take action on it, and we don't have all the pieces put together, and the faith frequency is being defined and refined as we go along, because that's what life is all about. You start where you're at, you start where you feel called, and then you just keep refining. And what I'm realizing is the clarity that's coming as we just keep taking action steps. So I want to call it faith in action, because the faith is truly being able to feel and imagine the things that you want in your life and or in your business or in your relationship, in your bank account. Like, it's being able to focus on something that's not physically tangible yet, and to activate the feeling state of that. And so when I work with my clients, I'm happy to let them share and be heard, but then it's like, now where are we going? Because life is always about being present in the now moment. And then what are you ready for next? Because it is everlasting life. It is never ending. And so when we take a moment and ask ourselves the right questions, whenever fears pop up, concerns pop up, it is about, yes, addressing them, but not so heavily that you just dive into all the stories, but instead you ask yourself the question, well, what is it that I am wanting from this? Because what I've recognized is fears and concerns pop up, lack of time, lack of effort, lack of not doing enough. Those will pop up because there's a desire, there's a calling, there's something that you want to move towards. And instead of being frustrated with it, it's like, well, what would feel good next? and narrow it down to like one or two things, because anxiety comes when you're trying to think about too many things and do too much at once. And so it's like we feel like, oh, if I narrow it down and I don't think about all the things, they won't get done. But the truth is, when you can narrow your focus, you can build so much faster momentum because you're more singular in your thought. And that's even a scripture in the Bible, though I don't have it off the top of my head, but it does talk about being singular in your thought. And there is power because it is focus. And I was thinking about faith and I was thinking about focus, and both of those together move mountains. So when we can have the right faith frequency and we have the right focus and we're clear on what lights us up and we're excited about it, and then we're willing to take action, the smallest of action gets momentum going. And so much of the time it's like, oh, I got to take these big steps. I got to get all this done. It's like, nope, you just need to figure out one thing, get it done, and then keep putting one foot in front of the other. And so, whatever it is that you guys are wanting to build in your life, whether it's business, whether it's relationship, whether it's health, whether it's financial well-being, it's just deciding and narrowing down the focus into one thing. What can you do? And take that action step. LoriAnn, do you have anything you want to share or add to the conversation?
So while you were talking about this, right now, the Olympics are going on. And I know that this episode is not going to be posted until later. The Olympics are going to be over. People aren't going to really be in that mode of the Olympics. But I wanted to just think about what is working in those athletes' lives. And when you were saying that, they all of that focus and that faith and like really, really like narrowing it down, it made me really think about all these stories. And I think listening to athletes and all of the things that they have gone through to get them to this 10 seconds of performance or 2 minutes of performance or 30 minutes with them doing some of those longer races, whatever it is that they're involved in, or the games, part of the games that they're involved in. It has taken all those years. Like, you don't see all of that. And I think the media has gotten better about showing us the back history and the back story and being able to get us emotionally involved in these people's lives. And once you get emotionally involved in this, you start to remember, you start to be able to apply things, you start to be able to think, oh, maybe I could do that, and oh, this person, they did that, but look at what they went through. So I think with living in the faith frequency, and you look at these high level performers, and then you look at those of us that, those elite level performance are less than 0.01% of the entire population, right? So as we fit into this and we fit our lives into this, I love what Amy has talked to us about with coming in, focusing, and knowing we can be living at that elite level. We can be living at that faith frequency just by some simple actions, just by some simple things of, quieting ourselves down, focusing, and then taking just that little step. I loved that you emphasized that.
Yes, I love the whole analogy of the athletes because there's so much consistent time and practice put in to have that 10 seconds, and the mindset that you have to have, the desire that you know, have to stay with it for so many years and continue to build. And honestly, that's how we all are in our own lives. There's always something that we want to aim towards. There's a target. There's something that we want to build because we are creators. And I also just want to say, like, you have to enjoy what you're creating. I think it's so important to enjoy the journey of the practicing and acknowledging yourself. So as you do get better and better at the things that you're wanting to learn, like for me, I am, I've got a whole new life that's happening. I say whole new life, though all my dreams and everything I've ever wanted is still right on track, but I'm doing it with my husband and non-physical versus physically with me. But I have a desire to become financially intelligent. And he handled all the bills and the finances for the past 17 years. I was born into a banking family. So it's not like I don't know. I have taken the classes. I have done QuickBooks in my past life. So I have the ability. I just didn't have the desire because I had someone that did it for me. So I'm really mindful of the inner dialogue that I have going on so that I am encouraging myself to keep learning. And when I have conversations with very intelligent people, whether it be my estate attorney or my financial investor guy or my real estate private equity person or whoever I'm talking with, they all have different opinions and they all have different guidance. And my work is to receive what they have to give. And when I notice my fears kicking in, like, oh my gosh, I don't know the answer to this. I think it's John whispering in my ear, and he says, but what do you know? When they ask a question, because sometimes we're embarrassed that we don't have all of the answers or that we're not farther along. Like, recognize when the embarrassment or the shame comes up when you don't know something. And the inner dialogue is super important at that time. And it's to ask yourself, but what do I know of what they're sharing? And what don't I know? And what questions can I ask? And that way you're taking all the criticism that you have for yourself that you're not farther along out, because that never helps. But instead, you are, again, becoming singular in your thought and saying, what is it that I do know? What is it that I don't know that I could ask? And those questions help you to focus so that you can continue to get better and better at whatever you are wanting to choose in your life to give attention and focus to.
Okay, that is really powerful that you talked about, like the little celebrations that you're going to do for yourself. I was listening to a whole conference, and in this, it's like a 3-day workshop is what it is. And in there, they're talking about brain power and being able to increase your mental capacity, and with no excuses. Like, there's no excuses of age or that you have ADHD or that all there's no excuses. Like, it does not matter. Your brain can grow no matter what. And it is neuroplasticity is the word that they use. So it can grow new synapses, it can grow new pathways, it is a growing thing inside of us all the time. And so you said a really key important thing there, and that is that little voice that comes in, whether it's John that's helping us or whether it's your intuition, whatever, your angels that are coming in, and you're getting that, you got this, you can do this. And that positiveness that you're even, maybe sometimes you have to force yourself and say to yourself, that was dang good. I did such a great job. You know, little teeny, tiny habits that you start putting in place, that you start doing these little celebrations, because that will raise your frequency, like what Amy teaches us. And it also will raise the mind. So your brain and your mind are kind of two different things, but we're not going to go into all of that. But it will also raise that level of being able to go back and get this information. So all of these things that we have talked about today, especially that little celebration and getting rid of those negative emotions, or not that we're getting rid of them, they're always going to come up, right? But we are acknowledging it, like what you said, and then we're having some celebrations around even the tiniest little step.
Even recognizing that you have a fear or concern or disappointment or confusion, the moment that you can recognize that you're in that frequency, that's a celebration, because our emotions are indicators letting us know and become aware of what stories we have playing in our mind. So you want to be aware, you want to recognize, oh, I feel something. When something feels off, like, let's acknowledge that. Acknowledge the awareness with no judgment, I always say, and say, oh, well, what story did I have playing unconsciously in my mind? And how can I shift that to a more encouraging and supportive dialogue? And that is a celebration in itself. So, yes, all of our emotions are good because they are just indicators, much like the gas light on your car is an indicator. You're not going to put a smiley sticker over it. You're going to be like, oh, I'm getting low with gas. I need to pull over and fill up. When the emotions get low on the frequency, okay, what's going on here? And you ask yourself, what can I do for myself to elevate my energy, my emotional state? And sometimes it's letting go, giving space to things, going on a walk, petting your animal, getting outside, but doing something for yourself. You are with you 24/7, and you want to become your biggest supporter, encourager, and advocator, because you are it.
Right. Okay, we have covered so many things today. Let's regroup and just go over the key things that we've touched on today. So, do you want to just package this all really nicely on what are some things that we can look at right now to do in our lives, and to increase our frequency and living in this faith frequency?
The most important thing is just become self-aware without judging. The more that you can be aware of that feeling state, that frequency that you're in, and allow yourself to, when you're feeling a lot of emotions or confusion, remember it's just narrowing it down. Narrow down your focus to one thing at a time, process one thought, one subject at a time, and that will help release the anxiety and elevate yourself into a frequency of faith, knowing that the answers are going to come, the solutions are going to come. You don't have to figure it all out in this very moment. And let's see, the next thing that we talked about was,
Let me look at my notes.
yeah,
You talked about looking through the windshield of life and then taking action.
yes. So recognizing when you have stories, when the fear comes up and the concern, recognize the stories. And those are normally from the past and afraid that it'll be repeated in the future. But the future, the windshield, looking through the windshield is like, what are you ready for next? Letting go of the past. When you can focus on what you want versus what you don't want, you're always going to feel better. So get into a dialogue of, what are you ready for next? What are you ready for next? And also find appreciations where you are now, acknowledging those little successes that you have and appreciating yourself.
And asking those good questions.
Yes. Asking good, clear questions, you get
Yeah.
good, clear answers.
Yeah. Okay. That I think we've kind of packed it in here with a lot of stuff today. And what do you want to leave our listeners with today? I always love when you just tune in and you let your intuition and that inspiration just kind of, bring us back in. We talked about the focus, we talked about, having that faith. And what is something that our listeners could really powerfully apply in their life that helps them with their faith?
I think that when you can give yourself space, when something's not flowing the way you want, to just pause and give yourself space to step back and gain perspective. That will elevate your frequency more than anything. It's almost like unkinking a hose so that you can see clearer, you can think clearer, you can feel clearer. And so I'm going to say pausing and giving yourself space when you bump up against things in your life. So much of the time we try to push all the way through, and it's that space is what just helps you buoy right back up to this higher frequency. And remembering that in the big scheme of things, life really is working on your side always, but you have to have the eyes to see it. So a little space and a little perspective brings you right back up, and then you're ready to go again.
I love that. Well, thank you for being with us here today, and keep your eyes open and your heart open and really be able to live in your faith frequency. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, LoriAnn.
Thanks for tuning in to Living in the Faith Frequency. Keep shining, keep aligning, and keep trusting your inner guidance as you live your life full out. We are here to guide you as you step confidently into your faith journey. Be sure to subscribe and stay connected. Check out the show notes and let us know what topics would you like to hear next. On behalf of Amy and LoriAnn, we want you to keep talking, keep dreaming, and keep feeling blessed.